Alright, hey guys, I just got started on the first planter. Basically, how you're going to start out is you're going to lay those 22-inch long treated 2x4s on end. See, there's one, there's two, there's three, and that's what's going to support the whole planter, and that's plenty to support it. You can put an extra 2x4. You can put 6 down there if you want, or you can do however you want to, but that's what I've found that works the best, and that's all you really need. So anyways, you lay those down, and then you lay the 6 foot long 2x6s across them, like you see here. So that's 6 foot long and 24 inches wide. And I'm sure there's other ways to do this, but this is the fastest way I've found, and it's easy. It's easier this way. So, and basically all I had to do was I laid those down, took my tape measure, and to try to get it square, I measured off of this 2x4 right here, and this 2x4 can be set however far in. It can be set here, it can be set at the very end, but I just threw it under there. It doesn't really matter that much, but it matters to get it square. So I measure off of that, and it calls for about 3 shy 3/4. So I tack this other one in over here at 3 shy 3/4, and you do the same thing over here. And this process is just to get it square, so it goes in easy, and you don't have any issues. That one's right at 3, maybe a little bit over 3 inches. That one's right at 3. So basically, I just put one nail in each corner, and I don't know if you guys know how to get objects square whenever you're building boxes or anything like that, but you measure a cross point. So you just measure from that point to this point, that point to this point, and you have to get them close to equal anyways. Like, this thing doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, all you're going to be doing is putting dirt in it, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it makes it easier for the project. So that's right at 75 3/4. And I think as long as you're within, a 1/2 inch, you should be fine. 75 and 3, a little over 3/4. That's pretty good. So after I got it square, got those corners tacked, and I got it square, I'm going to go ahead and evenly space out these other 2x6s to get the joints correctly. And these joints might be a little bit too big. Some of that dirt might fall out, but it shouldn't matter much. You need holes. You need holes in the bottom of it anyways to let that moisture drain out whenever you water. But so hopefully those cracks aren't too big. Even if they are, I can always put some spacers in or something like that. Or you can even lay, you could probably even lay like some newspaper over it or something like that, and that'll allow the water to soak through it, and it'll still hold the dirt in. Something, or brown paper sacks even. I don't know, something like that would work, but it shouldn't matter much. But so I'm gonna go ahead and tack these boards down, and I'm just nailing them with nails. It would be better if you use screws, and later on I might put a few screws in just to make it hold better, because those nails won't keep it together for too long. It'll last you a couple seasons, but screws will last much longer. If you put deck screws in here, you won't have any issues with it ever. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack it in, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, now basically what I've done is I've taken those 10-inch 2x4s right there that y'all should have cut, and I fastened them to the corners of the base. And what that's going to allow us to do is that's going to allow us to fasten the corners of the sides. The sides are going to fit right here and right here, and if we didn't have this piece right here, then they would just be the plywood corners floating in the air, and we need something to fasten to make it stronger, so it can hold that dirt in. Otherwise the dirt would just collapse those walls out. So just fasten those. All I did was flip over the base and just let gravity pin those two in place, and then all I'm going to do is pick that other end up and do the same thing over there. So that's all you do for that, and I'll get back to you guys here in a second whenever I get to putting the sides on. Okay, so I've gotten all the 4 corners on, and it might look out of whack right now. It's just because I got it all leaned up on its side. It'll straighten out whenever you stand it back down on the base. But basically all I did was lined up the corners of your sides. I put it flush up against the bottom of your base. And this one ended up being a little bit short, but that's okay. You kind of build these with a little bit of tolerance because nobody's perfect. But anyways, so I just nailed it all along the base. And on these corner ones, obviously since you get out here, you can't really nail this in, otherwise that 2x4 is going to come loose right there. So what I did was I started out low and drove it in at an angle, and that kind of pinned that corner in. And I just tapped these in just to where the tip of that nail started biting into this 2x, and that's going to hold it for now. And whenever I put these end pieces on, that'll make it much easier. After I nail those end pieces on, it'll make it much easier to nail it in up higher, and this won't come loose so much. So that's that. And I'll get back to you whenever I get these end pieces on. Alright, I got this end piece on. Basically just did the same thing. Except this time I didn't have to sand it up on edge. I just nailed it in like this and put some nails in along the side. And I guess I haven't finished nailing it, but I nailed this base in. Nailed one right there after I straightened it all up. If you notice, those corners don't meet up, but I mean it's okay. If I would have thought more about all the measurements, I probably could have got it all square, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's just a planer. So another thing I didn't mention, I forgot to. There's 2 things actually I thought about. To avoid these bigger gaps, you can just bring them in a little bit. Instead of 24 inches, make it 23.5 or something like that, or 23.25 out, and it'll close those gaps up. Instead of 24, I actually took it down to about 23.75, and those gaps are still kind of big, but it'll be okay. But that's why these corner pieces are 24 inches, and they actually hang out a little bit. They actually hang out about a 1/4 inch on both sides, but that's okay. So, anyways, that's one thing I forgot to mention. The other thing is, on the earlier video I said, if you're building it, you probably noticed by now, but I said that these end pieces can come out to there or there at the very end. It doesn't really matter. It does matter. It has to be at least 1.5 inches from the side, so you have enough room to nail these 10-inch pieces in from the bottom. So they can sit right here, but no further over. They can sit right here and further out. So I put mine about 4 inches out, just so whenever you flip it over, you can nail these 10-inch pieces in. That's pretty much it. I'm going to finish nailing the corners in, this end, and these sides in, and that'll be pretty much it. So I guess you'll guys see it. Next time you see this, it'll be done. So be back in a sec. Alright, that's it. So there it is. I got all the corners nailed in. Should prove to work. Be a pretty good planer. These are for my mom. If you build it with these plans, you got two pretty good size planners out of that material that she bought. And I don't know how much. I'm sure that's most people's question is how much it's going to cost. I shoot this plywood. I don't know. I usually don't have to buy it. Usually it's just scrap off some of the jobs that we do. But I bet probably for 2 planners in using this plan, it's probably going to cost $80 maybe. So I'll plan for $40 a planner. And I mean, I don't know if you can even buy these, so I don't even know where you'd look to buy them. But to build them, probably $40. Probably no less than $80. After you buy all the lumber and stuff, and probably maybe a little bit more if you buy treated 2x. And but nailing it works fine. If on those corners, it's kind of tough, but I got away with it pretty easy. There's a trick if you guys have access to like a 16 gauge or an 18 gauge like finishing finishing nail gun. Tack in the plywood into these corners before you start nailing them or screwing them with the big nails. And that makes it a million times easier. I just didn't have one here, otherwise that's how I built them before, but otherwise I would have done that. If you guys use screws, it'll be a hell of a lot easier all around, and it'll last longer if you use screws. And some deck screws. Deck screws and treated lumber would probably make the longest lasting planer. But if you take care of them, if you, you know, empty them out around winter, store them somewhere, they'll last you a long time. You could even paint them. I don't even know what you could paint them with, but you could paint them and it'd make them last a lot longer. Or wrap. You could even. I've seen people wrap them in plastic, but then you kind of get into. You can start growing mold into the plastic if you don't have it sealed up right. But yeah, this works just fine for me. Might have to rebuild it in a couple of years or build another one or two, but it ought to work fine. So, yeah, now I just got to build another one. So I hope this helps y'all. You guys are planning on building one of these. So if you have any questions, just you can message me, PM me, or leave a comment, and hopefully I can help you. So thanks for watching.